Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And this is an Icon digital torque wrench. It's a 1/2-inch drive. It's about 25 inches long, runs on three AA batteries. Digital display here. It's the first Icon tool I've ever featured on my channel. This is a kind of a replacement for a tool I sold a long time ago, or a while ago. I had a Snap-on digital torque wrench and just loved the thing, but you know, they are kind of fragile, and the Snap-on torque wrenches, one like this is over $900 now. This one off the truck, they have a truck, is about $360, $350, and I know there are kinds of discounts or stuff people use, but anyway, it's up there. Now it is made in Taiwan, but something that doesn't worry me as much is the electronic side of it. You know, a lot of times I like to stay with USA-made hand tools if I can. Here's a Snap-on USA-made 1/2-inch. This is a mechanical one. This is a 72 tooth. Here's a 36 back when they had the USA-made on it. Another Snap-on 1/2-inch drive. You know, no batteries to go out, but I really like the operation of the digital torque wrench. Now, it has a gazillion features that I will never ever use, but the few things it does well, it does very well. So this is a 72 tooth ratchet on the front end of this thing. It does have a flex head, mild flex head. But what I was saying about the electronics is, you know, it's Taiwanese made. It's apparently very similar, or maybe the same as the Cornwell, which is $600 to $700 torque wrench. And the electronics, a lot of times, you know, I hate to say it, but many times the U.S. manufacturers are either using the, you know, in this case, the display, the chips, the strain gauge, things like that are overseas anyway. Or maybe we don't have quite the best ones. You know, a lot of our electronics are coming from overseas, and I've had some U.S. electronics, and I wasn't as thrilled with them. In fact, about the last time I really got excited over some were Bose speakers. But I think a lot of their parts now are all overseas. But anyway, back to this guy. Move this case. It's got a hefty blow-molded case. So one of the reasons I wasn't too worried about going with something like this is there's a tool channel called Tools Tested. And John, the guy who runs it, did a head-to-head with a digital Snap-on and the digital Icon. And the Icon across the board beat the Snap-on in all of the accuracy tests. In fact, the only time there was one test where the Icon was just a hair behind the Snap-on, and in fact about 0.5% in repeated measures. But mostly the Icon was way ahead of the Snap-on. But after he did 1,000 cycles with the torque wrench, with both of them, then the Icon moved back into first place across the board. And it really shocked him. I'll put a link to his video. It's outstanding. It's a great tool channel. But anyway, the way this thing works, if you haven't used a digital torque wrench, you know, this might be a good one to start with. It has a battery container at the back, and this is a reverse thread container or cap, and that's because many times when you're cranking on this, you can see I put 3 energizers into this thing. It doesn't come with high quality batteries. It comes with some Maxwell's, and most of these have some kind of parasitic draw when you're not using it, which means that the batteries tend to go dead, go back to my Snap-on. I always had the batteries out of it. But anyway, they use a reverse thread here. So when you're tightening, which is usually why you have the torque wrench, you're actually, if there's any motion, you're rolling this. Snap-ons actually had a kind of a coin-shaped opening, a little door on it, so that wasn't an issue, but that's how they handled it here. I did notice some sharp edges along the inside of this area right along in here that I ground down. But anyway, so once you've got the batteries on board, You can hear the squeal. It makes a lot of noise. This is louder than the Snap-on. It's got a really clear display. The display probably isn't quite as sharp as the Snap-on. But this is a 12.5 to 250 foot-pound digital torque wrench. You can set it for peak or track, a whole bunch of features. I'm going to set it here. I'll do a quick test. So you can see there's the lowest at the 12.5. Actually, I might as well show some menu things. All kinds of different options. This is actually a really easy menu to navigate. The Snap-on was easy once you kind of got the gist of it. These crooked buttons I find kind of interesting. To me, they look a little goofy, but I guess it sets it aside. But anyway, you can zip all the way through this thing if you have particular needs, uses. But anyway, I will go back out to my exit. Whoops, sorry. Exit out of here. So I've got it at 12.5. That's the lowest. I'll take it up to about 25. Or maybe 20 just for fun. And what I'm going to do, we'll throw one of these little Capri stubbies on there, and then put this on a breaker bar, just so I can get some. See what I'm doing, just dropping that on there. So you can see then how this works. Now it has two light panels right here and on this side. And the Snap-on had a light panel, but it wasn't nearly as effective as this is. Plus it's got stuff on the top. So let me show you how this works. So as I apply pressure here, get that out of the light, you can see now backlight turned on and it's reading the actual value, and you've got this light on the side that's yellow. So it starts out red, yellow, and then green, and a sound, and this lights up there pretty bright. So you can see what it's doing. Keeps that last reading. I'll go in really slow. So it's starting, it'll pick it up here. So not bad. Now another thing about this, in the tests that John did on his channel, pop that off there, is he discovered that the Snap-on was basically as much as 4% off. This is about 2%. This is rated as 2. In fact, I've got the documentation here. First of all, this came with it that shows me essentially some of the same things that John found on his channel. So at the different settings, this is what they discovered, the actual, and you can see they are really close. You're talking half a pound basically on those. That's in clockwise. Usually they're a little bit less accurate on counterclockwise. You can see this one was running a little bit low, but not bad. 48.5 as the furthest off. You can see 45 here. So it's off a little bit, but definitely within specs. If you're expecting, perfection, it's a torque wrench. And it got better as he did more. The angles, if you set it, so if you want a 45-degree angle, it gave a 42, 90 gave an 87, 180. I mean, that's pretty good. That was the min, and max, but you can see the actual measured values. I mean, they are so close, and the counterclockwise angles. But anyway, you can get these calibrated. It does talk also about the warranty, which is kind of interesting, that this is warranted to the original purchaser. It says that this Icon torque wrench shall be free from defects, blah, 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 and has been calibrated, etc. But it's a lifetime of the tool, so whatever that means. And generally, you're pretty careful with tools like this. But I thought I'd try one and see what Icon's all about. And so far, when I compare it, a couple of things. This is the flex head on my that's my 72 tooth one, but there is some wiggle in there. Less on the older one. This is a 36 tooth. That feels a little bit tighter. Snap-on on this one just has this riveted in. I have had might have been this one, maybe. One of these I had repaired. I actually had to get it fixed. Now, that looks like a newer rivet. But anyway, the other thing is, I find these awfully hard to read. Yeah, when it's under bright lights and in front. Plus, this one doesn't have Newton meters on the back, so that's why I've got two of them, because I needed one that had both foot-pounds and Newton meters. I could easily do a conversion, but anyway. But trying to set these things, especially, in dimmer light or not ideal conditions, can be a little bit tough. So these are really handy. Simple. If you're doing a lot of jobs, though, you can get some good recordings. You can go back in time and look up what's going on. It's easy to switch through. This has more units as well. It's easy to set it. You can have presets, so you like lug nuts for particular vehicles, and immediately go right to that. It's a lot louder and brighter than the Snap-on one that I had. Snap-on was prettier, I think, but I think I had a green one. But anyway, this is not an inexpensive Icon tool, but it's definitely impressed me so far. Anyway, and with that, dock out.